Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a piece that tries to boil down what makes successful people tick.
Hmm.
It's kind of a shortcut, trying to find those key things without getting bogged down in tons of self-help stuff.
Right.
Our mission basically is to pull out the really actionable advice, the stuff you can use pretty much immediately to, grow and hit your goals.
Yeah, and I think what's great about this particular source is how it focuses on the fundamentals,
Okay.
the core principles. It's not about the latest trend.
Right, no quick fixes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's digging into the bedrock behaviors, the mindsets that you see again and again.
Yeah.
We're sort of distilling that wisdom, hopefully, into something useful.
Okay, so first up, the source talks about clear goals, which sounds simple, maybe a bit obvious.
Well, yeah, but it goes deeper.
Right. It's not just saying what you want, it pushes for real self-awareness. Like, what do you actually enjoy?
Hmm. That alignment piece is crucial.
Because what's the point of hitting some goal if it doesn't actually, make you happy? You might just regret it later.
That's a really good point it makes. The source actually suggests listing things you enjoy, really thinking about it,
Okay.
and then figuring out which of those things you genuinely feel driven to succeed at. It's finding that internal motivation, right? The thing that keeps you going.
Yeah, when it gets tough. And here's something interesting. It says, start with just one main goal,
Mm-hmm. Focus.
which feels kind of different today, doesn't it? Everyone's multitasking.
Totally. But the idea is to channel your energy. Avoid getting spread too thin, especially at the start.
Yeah, that makes sense. Build some momentum first.
Right. Then maybe you can add more later. But nail one thing first.
And it stresses being super specific about that goal.
Yes. Clarity is key. It contrasts these vague wishes with really sharp objectives.
Like, I want to be better versus I want to finish this specific course by this date.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. One is just a fuzzy idea.
Like sailing without a map.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The other gives you coordinates. You know where you're going, and you can, importantly, see if you're actually getting closer.
Right. You can track your progress. It's like, how do you solve a puzzle if you don't know what the picture is supposed to look like?
In that specificity, it does something psychologically. When a goal is clear, maybe a little challenging, you can actually picture yourself succeeding.
Okay. Yeah. Visualize it.
And that mental rehearsal, it really fuels your motivation, makes it feel less like a huge mountain to climb. Your brain almost starts figuring out how to get there.
Okay. So clear goal check. But then comes the maybe harder part, taking action.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
action.
And the source is pretty direct here. It says it's the absolute fastest way to develop yourself.
No substitute for doing.
And I think we all know that feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting stuck, planning, overthinking everything.
Oh, definitely. Analysis paralysis, it's real.
So the source tackles the usual excuses head on, like lack of money.
Yet it doesn't see that as a full stop. It suggests, well, figure it out. Save up. Find ways to earn a bit extra. Be proactive about it.
Okay. Not just a roadblock, but a problem to solve.
Exactly. Same with knowledge. Don't know how. That's your cue to start learning. Find the info.
And time. That's the big one for a lot of people.
Well, the source links it back to importance.
Yeah.
If you truly see the goal as important, you make the time, even if it's just small chunks, consistently.
That consistent effort, yeah. Even 15 minutes a day, it adds up. It's about deciding something really matters, isn't it?
It is. It's that internal switch. And then there's the fear of messing up.
Uh-huh. Big one.
But the perspective here is really helpful. It kind of echoes Thomas Edison, failure isn't, the end. It's finding ways that don't work.
Learning what not to do.
Exactly. Reframing those setbacks as feedback. That's how you build resilience and keep going.
Yeah, totally. I remember when I was trying to learn a bit of coding, I was terrified of writing bad code. But honestly, the messy code, the stuff that didn't work, that's where I learned the most. Fixing it.
That's a perfect illustration.
Yeah.
That's the growth mindset in action. Believing you can develop your abilities.
Right.
Stumbles aren't proof you can't do it. They're just part of the learning curve. Opportunities, really.
Okay, so next up, the source talks about leadership capabilities, which might sound a bit corporate,
It might initially, yeah, but the angle is broader.
applicable to everyone.
I think so. It defines a leader, pretty simply, someone whose overall abilities are, well, ahead of the pack in a given area,
Okay.
and it breaks leadership down. Two main things. One is work proficiency, just being good at your actual stuff, your knowledge, your experience.
Makes sense.
The other is people management, understanding how to work with people, guide them effectively.
And you can learn the work stuff maybe through courses, right? Executive courses are mentioned.
You can accelerate the knowledge part that way, sure.
Yeah.
But for both proficiency and people skills, the source really emphasizes experience. There's no substitute for actually doing it.
That people side is huge, even if you're not like a manager. Collaboration, communication.
Exactly. Getting things done often involves other people. Navigating those dynamics is key.
And within that people management piece, the source highlights decisiveness.
Yes. Being able to make a call.
Because being too scared to make a mistake just leads to nothing happening.
Pretty much. Indecision can be a killer for progress. Better to decide, even if you're not 100% sure, and be ready to adapt if it's not working.
Right, like that old saying, perfect is the enemy of good. Just gotta move sometimes.
And the source is realistic. It knows decisions involve uncertainty.
Yeah.
The trick is being prepared for things to go sideways sometimes. And maybe investing or committing at a level where if it doesn't pan out, the loss is acceptable. It's a learning cost.
Viewing mistakes as tuition fees, almost.
Kind of, yeah. They become fuel for getting better faster.
Okay, so for someone listening who isn't, managing a team right now, how can they practice these leadership things day to day?
That's a great question. It's about looking for small opportunities. Maybe volunteering for a task that stretches you a bit.
Okay.
Really trying to understand different viewpoints in a discussion. Speaking up clearly.
Yeah.
Taking ownership when you contribute good or bad.
So everyday interactions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Organizing a weekend trip with friends, mediating a small disagreement, even just planning a project thoroughly. These all build those muscles of influence and responsibility.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, next big idea. Start small.
Yeah. Power of increments.
Yeah, it feels like the cure for feeling totally overwhelmed by some huge dream, right?
Definitely. It's about gradual progress.
Yeah.
Build up your expertise step by step before you try to, conquer the world.
So the advice is like, set a medium-term goal, maybe a financial target for the year.
Yeah, something tangible within a reasonable time frame. But then break it way down. What are the tiny steps to get there?
And it even suggests things like side hustles to speed things up.
Right. The example used is selling homemade snacks. It's simple, but it generates a bit of cash and teaches you basic business stuff on a tiny scale. Logistics, selling, customer feedback.
You learn by doing, even if it's small.
Exactly. And for investing, same principle. Start with the smallest amount you can.
Don't wait until you have thousands.
No. Start small and, crucially, reinvest the profits. That's how you build capital over time. It's the compounding effect.
And for small businesses, just keep doing what works. Repeat the successful bits.
Yeah, consistency. Find a winning formula, repeat it, refine it. That's how you scale.
It sounds so much like personal finance advice, too. Saving. Even if it's just a tiny bit each week.
It's the same principle. Establish the habit. Let it grow.
Those small amounts add up.
And psychologically, those early small wins are huge.
Yeah, how so?
They give you that hit of accomplishment. Boost your confidence, create a positive feedback loop that makes you feel ready to tackle the next slightly bigger step. Builds momentum.
Okay, great. And the final point the source really drives home is about avoiding the comparison trap, embracing your own path.
Oh, this one is so important, especially now.
Right. With social media everywhere, it really hit home for me.
The argument is simple. True happiness comes from doing stuff you genuinely enjoy. Dissatisfaction often creeps in when you're just trying to keep up with others or follow trends.
Blindly following the crowd.
Yeah. Now, it does say looking at others can be motivating if it sparks a real interest in you.
Okay, so inspiration is fine, but
But forcing yourself to do something just because you feel like you should or you have FOMO, fear of missing out, that's a path to burnout.
and wasted effort on things you don't even like.
Exactly. And it talks about the struggle of trying to match people with totally different resources, like trying to take the same fancy vacations.
Yeah, that can just lead to stress and feeling inadequate.
Right. The source basically says trying to perfectly imitate someone else usually just makes you a, quote, second best version of them.
Instead of the best version of yourself.
Precisely. Own your own path.
Yeah.
Your unique interests, your strengths, those are your real assets. Stop the unnecessary competition.
It's hard sometimes, though, that pressure to conform.
It is. But the link between being authentic, really being yourself, and finding long-term fulfillment seems undeniable.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up. Looking at these common threads from the source, it feels like they all connect, doesn't it?
They really do. It's an ecosystem.
You've got the clear personal goals first, then the need to actually do something, take action.
consistently.
Then building those leadership skills even in small ways. Starting small to build momentum.
Yeah, not getting overwhelmed.
And finally, staying true to yourself, avoiding that constant comparison game.
It forms a pretty solid framework, doesn't it, for growth, for actually achieving things that matter to you.
Yeah, not just isolated tips, but a connected approach. And these are the things that, according to the source, keep showing up.
Fundamentals,
Yeah.
bedrock principles.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about everything we've just talked about. What's one thing, one really small, doable action you could take? Like today.
Just one tiny step.
Yeah, that lines up with one of these ideas. Maybe it's just writing down one goal with more clarity. Or spending 15 minutes on that project you've been putting off.
Or maybe just taking 5 minutes to think about what you genuinely enjoy, separate from what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. Just pick one small thing. Take that step. See where it leads. Thanks for diving deep with us today.